namaste, sat sri akal, good evening. Welcome to the S.S. Chandhok talk show. I'm your host and moderator, S.S. Chandhok. Today we are here again with a very special guest from Pan India, and we are going to talk about a very special topic, power of language learning. Without taking any time, I'll introduce you to the very first eminent guest present over here. We have Pooja Puri ma'am. She is the principal of Manav Rachna International School, Gurugram. We welcome ma'am and thank you ma'am for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, please let us know about yourself. That did you came into this profession by chance or by choice, and how did you rose from a teacher to a principal of this school, Manav Rachna International?
Well, very good evening to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chandhok, for making me join this great panel. I have around about 35 years of experience, and I was always a teacher. Right from the day I had my siblings, I always used to teach. So teaching is there in my blood. I am a daughter of two teachers only. So that's how I came into this profession. And I have been with very small children, their earliest children, till the undergrad. So I had the privilege to teach all the age groups. And the best suited I was for kindergarten, where I specialized quite a lot, being a PGT. And I brought up 2 to 3 schools. And I was founder principal of 3 schools. I was with BPS, I was with MAT International School, I was with Good Shepherd School, Uti. And I have been with several Army and Air Force schools. And finally, I came into Manav Rachna, which is a wonderful organization. It's Pan India. And this profession is full of passion. It's just that you have a passion for this. You just live the life. And every year you become younger. Because every time a new child is born and a teacher is born again for that child. So that's how I've been into this profession. I think I go away opening my eyes, looking at the children. Again, a child will be born with me in the next life. Thank you so much.
Amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing your time and coming over here. Thank you so much. Next, we have Dr. Som Prakash, sir. He is the principal of the Cambridge School, Malerkotla, Punjab. Sir is also a very renowned personality in the media. We keep on seeing him, following him. He is a very good singer. I have seen his, photographs and videos where sir had been involved with so much with the children. You are doing, that Kirtan also and Bhajan also with the students and everything you're involved in the school, sir. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much, sir. Please let us know about yourself, sir, your journey as an educationist from the day you started until now, sir.
जी, जिनके किरदार से आती हो सदाकत की महक, जिनके किरदार से आती हो सदाकत की महक, उनकी तदरीस से पत्थर भी पिघल सकते हैं. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया चंदोक साहब for calling me here as a guest and as a speaker alongside this esteemed gathering of educationists and intellectuals. I'm very grateful to you for providing me this opportunity. I began my career after coming back from Jaipur, where I went for my higher studies and also for civil services. Somehow could not materialize those things, and then I started my career as a teacher from a very renowned religious institution. And let me tell you, I became a teacher by choice. It was not a matter of chance. It was a matter of choice that I chose teaching as my profession. So 8 years I worked as a teacher. Out of those 8 years, 4 years at Army School Bathinda, and 3 years at Police Public School Bathinda, and 1.5 years at one college. And after that, I started my journey as the head of the institution way back in 2007. And this is my 15th year as a principal. Out of those 15 years, I spent 10 years at the first ever school where I joined as the head of the institution. And I had the glory, or I had the fortune to pioneer the digital and smart education. Those were those were very early days as far as this digital education is concerned. 2007, when I started the first ever smart class school in the rural area of Bathinda district. And I'm proud to say that many schools from the neighboring 5-6 cities even some bigger schools than mine. They visited my school to know what is exactly the smart class is. And since then, the journey is, journey is on. And recently I joined 6 months back this Cambridge school, Hathan, which is near to Malerkotla. And I would say that I feel that I am the most fortunate person that I get to see lovely young children every day in the morning, and whatever kind of personal or professional issues are there. Once you meet the children, once you be with the children, every problem goes away, and the faces of the children, the young faces of the children, the exuberance that makes me work even harder every day and to bring something good in their lives. So that is what I can say about my journey as a teacher.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and for taking out your valuable time and coming to our show. Next, we have Mr. J.K. Agarwal. He's the principal of RN Public School, Ajmer, Rajasthan. Sir is also very active personality in the media, and we see always that he is found in Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn everywhere. Welcome, Agarwal, sir. Please let us know about yourself, sir. People would like to know about you, please, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, and a pleasant evening to all intellectuals. In fact, my journey is like choice or chance. So I would say that, yeah, initially it was chance because I was giving tuitions to students when I was in class 10th, 1981. Since then, I started giving tuitions, and all my fee and everything I was only managing through that. And then it went so much so into my blood that I really thought of making it only my career. And finally, then I was appointed as PGT English in some school in Jaipur. There I did for 13 years as head of the department also, and then some form of say examinations and more into academics like the quality education, how it can happen, guiding the teachers of English department at least. And it was a little comparatively big school. We had around 22, 23 teachers of English only. So in a way, I was leading a small school, you can say. So that experience was getting built up. And by doing so, like was anchoring programs and speaking at different forums, preparing children for debates and all. So it happened so much that people had eye in Jaipur. So I started getting offers, but I never wanted to be a principal. That's the truth of mine. Never ever, because I was happy with what I was doing. My school and then evening and my SSC, bank PO and all different classes, and I was doing pretty well. But then one fine day, one gentleman picked, you have to be a principal. And the journey started. It's been almost now around 5-7 years. Not so much as Dr. Som Prakash has done, but then yeah, I am trying my best. And so far as I worked with 2 schools, and wherever I went, had a good name and fame. And um, the schools used to have a turnaround story, like number of admissions increased, or I don't know, is it happening by luck or by chance or the hard work or the innovations which I start putting up wherever I go. But then this is my experience. 40-50% of admissions have increased. So I think that yes, I'll be able to gel with this profession and being a principal also. As Madam Mitushi Negi was saying just now, that working with children is important, and now the confidence is so dug deep into my mind and heart that give me any school and I'll run, and the school will do pretty well. That's my confidence. Thank you,
That's
sir.
great, sir. That's great, sir. And every administrator should have the same confidence, whatever situations, in whichever area you're giving up, we'll do the best. We'll do our best. That is the confidence we should have. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Next, we have Farida ma'am. She's the principal of Crimson Anisha Global School, Pune. Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much, first of all, for coming up to the show. And please let us know about yourself, ma'am. You're in the profession by chance or by choice, and how did you rose as a teacher to a principal?
Good evening, sir, and good evening to one and all, and thank you for having me over, sir. My story is kind of a mixed bag, which resonates, a few things which Mr. Agarwal said, a few things which Ms. Puri said. Of course, I don't have those many years of experience as a leader as Dr. Som Prakash. But when I say it resonates, I mean that yes, it was by chance that I got into this profession. I had gone to a school for my son and I was interacting with the principal, and she just said, "So, what are you doing?" And at that time, I had just taken a break from whatever I was doing, and I said, "Nothing at present. Will you join our school?" So, the timings she offered, whatever she offered at that time, it was just at the preparatory level, and it was fine for me. And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So, of course, my son didn't get into that school because we chose another school for him, but I entered that school by chance. And that was my first year into it. And I just coincidentally, I said, okay, now that I'm here, I'll just do my B.Ed alongside. I did my B.Ed, and the next year I was in another school teaching grade 9, 10, and the secondary sections. So that's how my journey began. That was 13 years ago. And moving on step by step, from the role of preparatory teacher to secondary teacher, coordinator, slowly moving the ladder up, with the vice principal, learning the nuances as I grow. So now I am the principal of the Cambridge section. Yeah, so that's somewhere where Dr. Som Prakash and I have something in common. So I'm also heading the Cambridge section. And yes, here I am. And if I say that, it resonates, Miss Pooja Puri's statement also. So yes, it is. When you're here, you can't just do it because it's a job. You can only sustain and develop and grow if it's a passion. So, the passion just builds in the moment you enter school. The environment changes irrespective of what the weather is outside. Once you're in school, the moment the interaction with your students begin, it's a de-stressor, even if it is a job. So it is always the moment you start your interaction with students, you are de-stressed. So yes, it is a passion. Yeah, it's a passion. You just keep, and they teach you a lot. Students, I mean, you learn so much from them. So, the interaction, the collaboration, the network, everything put together, it's a complete package, which is thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. Next, we have Mitushi Negi, ma'am. She is the principal of Central Academy, Eldico Green, Gomti Nagar, Lucknow. Welcome, ma'am. Mitushi, ma'am, had been in Kanpur also and I had worked along with her in one of the school. And although I was for a very short time over there, ma'am had worked there from 4 to 5 years, I suppose. And because she had to came from Lucknow and went back to Lucknow, we'll come up to Matushi, ma'am, and we'll let us know what was her journey as. Ma'am, please tell us about your journey. You were in the profession by chance or by choice?
Thank you for inviting me here in the August gathering, I must say. The only thing is that I began 22 years back as a nursery teacher. And it was like a very jolting thing for my mom when I said that there was a school nearby, and I said it always fascinates me. My mother had a dream. She was from the family of lawyers and my grandfather was a judge. So she always had an aspiration that certainly I'll be choosing that field. And when I told her, Mama, I don't want to do anything, I just want to become a teacher. So she was one person who said, do you know, is it an easy job? I said, let me try it out. If it does not work, then certainly I'm going to start my LLB, and whatever you'll say, I'm a game for it. And Chandhok sir, I joined as a nursery teacher, and after an year, I remember I told my mom that this is the it thing, I just want to do this only. For 5 to 6 years, she's my mom. 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 My it's okay, but I wanted a profession for you. So I said, Mom, don't you think teaching is also a profession, and the most noble and the humble one? So, like, I don't know, everybody, we all are wired, we all are accustomed, like, if we are teachers, so at least we can understand our fraternity. So she was always like into that field, and she had always a affinity for that. Now, coming back to my teaching things, sir, till date, I grew from a nursery teacher, then one, then five, then somewhere I remember there was a school Vibgyor. I became an HM over here, and then I started taking English also for grade 7 and 8 at times when teacher was not there. But sir, people are happy when they become PGT, and then the road is like ahead. You have to be a PGT if you want to grow up. But the case was very different with me. Then again, I set a bar that HM ban gayi, now it's fine. I just want to be with the kids, with the small kids. And then again, a thrust came. My management and all took decision. "Nahi, now you should move ahead." Vice principal. Then I became a principal. I've been given a new branch of the same family, Central Academy. I have been given a new branch, and I'm an inception principal of that branch. But sir, till date, if you ask me, Mitushi, what do you want? Nursery, KG, prep. Those three classes fascinate me like anything. And whenever I get a chance, mostly my rounds and all, and I'm moving in that direction only. So one day, like, I aspire that once जब तक कुछ कर पा रही हूँ ठीक है, जब तक नहीं होता है, जब तक ये चल रहा है, I'll open something related to kids only. My forte, my zone is pre-primary, sir.
Amazing, ma'am. A few things match. We had worked in the same school, and my family had everybody had been lawyer, and I am also a law graduate and an advocate also. But I was always fascinated with the teaching part only. The same thing happened. I went into teaching from last 25 years. I'm doing the same. I, Now also I go into the classes. I'm an accountancy teacher. Sometimes
Yeah.
I go into the classes. Day before yesterday, a letter came from class 11, which I moved to class grade 12 now. That sir, we request you that whole of the class wants to study from you. I went for a day or two only. So this is the love and affection you get from your kids, the belongingness you
Surely, surely,
get
sir.
from your kid. Although you cannot go every time, although it is that seven
That's
periods has to be taken by the principal in a class or has to take, but most of the principals they have so much work to do they cannot go into the classes and teach. But the
definitely.
love is always there with the kids when you want to go, like you have for the pre-primaries. Everybody has, because the best classes are the pre-primaries in the school for sure. Wonderful, smiling and cute faces. You see
And
that.
that's why, sir, I chose storytelling also. I am a storyteller and mindfulness trainer also.
That's great, ma'am. You are doing some workshops also on that. I've seen on
Yeah,
your
sir. In Kanpur,
profile.
I was like, I had like for 4 years, I've taken storytelling workshops. I have taken storytelling in mostly all the schools of Kanpur, from
Mm.
Methodist to St. Mary's to all the schools. But in Lucknow, definitely, this is my like place from where I hail. I have a family also to look after. There, I was like
Ma'am,
an
you will rule there
innovative
also,
family.
ma'am. You will rule there also, man. Don't worry. Yeah, you are back to your own place, Lucknow. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Next we have Jaswinder Singh sir. Jaswinder Singh sir, I met him in one of the show where we were like the speakers like this only, and I came to know about his product Wordsworth Lab. I requested him to come up to some of our shows and enlighten us what actually this lab is and how it is helpful to the kids and the teachers as well. Thank you, Jaswinder sir, for coming again on our show on our request.
Thank
Sir,
you.
please let us know that how it came in your mind to start up this lab and tell us something about the lab also, sir. Please, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chandok sir, and good evening, all the principals. Pleasure to be in the presence of such important personalities in the field of education. As if the head of schools perform good, the students come out to be much better. They actually look forward to you are the role models, and someday I hope to be a part of a school. Though I work with around 3,000 schools, but then I'll always aspire to be in your seat, and I salute you all. I'm from the IT background, from the technology background, and what I think Niti mentioned, yeah. So I'm from the technology background, and I'm from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. And during a time when Modi ji was the chief minister of Gujarat, we were doing a lot of training for the government, because Gujarat government was the first government in India to computerize everything. One fine day, we get a call that the chief minister's called you. And when we went there, we were told that, you have to train people on language skills because Gujarat was not good with language, especially when it comes to English. We were very excited, no tender, nothing. See, they are and come and do it. And he said that you have to train 100,000 people every year. 1 lakh bacha, youth, you have to train them in language skills. Very excited. He said, you don't have to do anything. We will give you the infrastructure. We'll give you this place. We'll give you the students. You go get your teachers and do it. And this is what it is. Very excited. But it so happened that at the end, he said that for every one center that you open up in urban Gujarat, you have to open up 2 centers in rural Gujarat. We thought it was easy and we, hunky dory and happy and we went to do this. But we realized that we were not able to get the right kind of language teachers in the rural part of Gujarat. That's where, we thought, okay, let's bring in technology, because I've been working with, 30 years, 32 years into technology aided learning and all that. So I was the person who developed the software which Educom used to use. They did not develop anything. It was developed by our company. So we were into this. So what I did was, I said, okay, let's create something. And that's how we created software, which would be used by a normal teacher to deliver something which is extra, which goes beyond, because these are tools. Content is what is technology, what is technology driven education. It's all a tool which a normal person can use to develop something which is even beyond them. So we did it. The project was successful. It was, it's still running around and we've already trained I don't know how many lakhs of students. But that time we realized that language acquisition should not be when you are in college. It should be during your schooling. And that's where we started working on, projects where we would said, okay, we'll create something which is good for school students. At that time, we met a school which is in tier 3 city by the name of Halol, which is near Baroda in Gujarat. So they had a Gujarati medium school, a local school. They were always participating in this QCI, Quality Council of India. In Lucknow, they have City Montessori doing that. So these students were from Gujarati medium and they would lose out to students from English medium school, though they were very, very intelligent. So then I was given the task, let's start working on. For 6 months, we worked with them. Post 6 months, when they went, they won awards and all that. That is what gave me confidence that what we are thinking, what we're doing can actually give results. And that's how my journey of getting into the, creating language tools started. So I was creating math and science tools. Then I said, okay, let me do something in languages. And that's how we said. And today we are connected with more than 1 million students every year through 3,000 plus schools. And that's the journey that we've got. So happy doing what I am, though, I've stopped doing coding and doing more of language programs and things like that. But yes, like you all said, ma'am said she loves to be with kids. We are saying that we love to be with students. I love to be with language. I find language to be music, because it's something that soothes you. It makes you feel so happy and contented. So that's where I am. That's my story.
That's great, sir. And sir, you had been the director of ex-founder director of DesignMate, which is now a Reliance company.
Yes.
And now you have a 32 years of experience in the education. And I think from last 15 plus years, you are into this field.
Yeah,
and
15 years, sir.
Yes, sir. And you have done a lot of research on this particular labs also. I think you told us 50,000
50,000 man hours. Yeah, we've actually put in 50,000 man hours to develop what we're working right now. Because you see, developing something which is going to be used for education, you better be sure what you're doing. It's going to impact or impact in a negative way if not done properly. So, and in education, research is very important, because what works in X country may not work in Y country. Demographics do play a lot. So that's why we had to put in this much.
Sir, you have worked with Modi sir also when he was the chief minister. You have worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain also through UNESCO.
Yes, sir.
Advise the government on the use of ICT in education. Passionate actor leader, you are also, sir. And now everybody talks about what's the big deal. कि computers की बात कर रहे हैं या technology की बात कर रहे हैं, what's a big deal? But you started when nobody was knowing the C of the computer even.
Yeah, actually, I was teaching, like sir said that, he was teaching 10th when he was in 10th. I also started teaching when I was in college because that was the first time computers were introduced as a subject for electronics,
Yeah.
right? And the colleges didn't have professors to do that. Out of passion, I started teaching, and then my mom used to say, "One day you're going to become Master G," and I'm so happy being a Master G. And that time, you remember, there used to be a serial, Lajo Ji and Master Ji and Hum Log and things like that. So that story became, and I fell in love with a person who was into teaching also, and that's how our family life has gone on now.
Amazing, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And we'll also know what like to know about the virtual lab in the next part of the program.
Thank you, sir.
We have Nidhi ma'am over here now. Nidhi Sirohi ma'am. She's the principal of, ma'am. You will introduce yourself, or I should introduce principal of GD Goenka Global School, Noida. Ma'am is also into the education field from more than, I think, 3 decades. Thank you so much, ma'am. She was busy up with another meeting and she has joined us now only. Ma'am, please let us know about yourself. You
A
are in the
very
profession. You
beautiful,
are the profession by chance or by choice, and where you started and where you came up in this school.
all right. A very good evening to all, and thank you so much for having me. And apologies for joining a little late because suddenly a meeting came up. That's what happens at schools. So many issues. Anyway, that's a very beautiful question to ask, whether you're in this profession by choice or by chance. And most teachers, as we say, uh, they may own up or not, but are there by chance. For whatever reasons in society, teaching is usually not a preferred choice of profession. And especially with ladies, it's like, there's nothing else to do, and I think I'm educated
Oh,
enough. Why
charges,
not?
charges, jaldi.
Why not? And the family will also say, okay, you can just go for a few hours. It's a half day job. You'll be with the children, so might as well join a school. And I think that's what basically defeats the entire purpose, because teaching and learning is a part of life. And I think everybody around is a teacher. So to be saying that you're in this profession, I feel is demeaning a profession that makes you. It makes individuals. It makes society. It makes the whole world, at large. And I think wherever there is something that goes wrong, I always believe in what may have happened in his or her schooling, or what the education happened. And talking about me, my mother herself was in the teaching profession, and I was definitely always inspired by her. And I can say with a lot of pride that I am in the profession by choice. So the other choice, like all Indian parents have, is you become an IS officer. And I have just loved my entire journey, where I started. And it's been one of those journeys where one started with a very renowned school in Delhi, and I started with teaching grade one. And then it so happened that got into administration, because probably that's what people saw in me, which I did not see. And I thank all my promoters and managements who could see probably that instinct in me. And I got into administration at a very, very young age. I worked with the Shriram schools, I worked with the Amity school, and my journey has been setting up of schools. So all the schools that I talk of, I've started right from their inception, and then for whatever reason, I'm a great believer of destiny as well. I moved on, and most of my movements that I took were for promotions. So I joined Amity. I was the coordinator, worked there, set up the school, set up its systems, and then went on to a new school that was coming up as the headmistress, called the Lotus Valley School in Noida. Again, brought it up, saw it grow, and moved on to the Kothari International School as the principal. Again, I was very instrumental in bringing up that school all over again. When I was invited by the Presidium group of schools to join them as a director education, because that was a school that was mainly with the preschools, and they wanted to graduate. Amazing learning experience there again. And currently, I am there. I was a director education for them, and currently I've set up another school, founder principal of the GD Goenka School in Noida. So that's one part of it. Even others was I'm a trainer by passion. So I'm both. A teacher's trainer, parenting expert. I won't call myself expert, but I love to, share my experiences with parents and guide them wherever, because parenting again is a very, very natural instinct. It's just sometimes that one gets too overwhelmed by the whole experience that nature gives, that we really cannot decide between what we should be doing and if there's someone to guide. And I'm also a corporate trainer.
Right.
So that's my little contribution to society, if I may say so. And being a trainer and being, language plays a very, very important role. So it's how you communicate.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming. And you have a wonderful and a great experience, ma'am. We'll surely learn something from you also. We'll come up to the next part of the session, and we know we have to be very limited while answering. A very good and brief and just answer we need. We'll come up to Pooja ma'am. Pooja ma'am, the first question towards you will be that what is the power of language learning which one feels proud of?
The language power is a measure of one's ability to communicate effectively and in a given language. And it breaks the communication gap. So why is language so powerful? That's what we'd like to say. Why it's a very powerful tool of communication. Language is a communication tool which we can use in our daily life as a means to convey information, argumentation, and there are other things like informing people, influencing people, persuading people, right? Coaxing people, deceiving people, I would also say, negotiating, manipulating, gossiping, hints, all these things are comforting others also, I would also say. So the best part is a social relationship can be built only with language. If we don't have that, we just cannot do anything. As sir said in the beginning of the session, music has a language. So it's not that, it's language which helps us to be happy, to convey ourselves. A person who cannot convey does not have a language. So language is a very, very powerful tool, very, very powerful tool. Without that, I think nothing can happen in the world.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Nidhi ma'am now. Nidhi ma'am, your views on the saying the power of language learning.
Again, language, I think when you talk of language learning, it is not only what the language that we learn in the classroom environment. I think language is a very basic instinct. When you talk of the intelligences, I may go a little technical. I think if you talk of the Harvard Garner intelligence, or all the research that has been done on the human brain, language is an intelligence that one is born with, and how much can you sharpen that? So language is acquired from the entire environment that one is in. So we may learn a language in terms of the vocabulary and the grammar, but the dialect comes from the socio demographic background that we come from, the people that we are interacting with. And if you look at children, the children pick up words which we do not want them to learn, and the parents come and say, no, we don't speak this language. Where is the child picking up this from? So why I say this? Because this is where language is extremely, extremely important as to what we have been exposed to. So the importance of language, as we all know, is communication. And when I talk of communication, we are having this talk show, for instance, and I think the person who would be, the content matters, but somebody who's speaking well, speaking with a variety of vocabulary, expressions, of the phrases that one is using, the paraphrasing, the kind of examples that one gives, the connect that you make, the human connect that you make, because communication is the basic string of connection, the bridge. It's bridging between two people. So I think language is the most important thing, and I think historically all the progress that happened in mankind was the majority of it was once language was developed, and when one could communicate, the communication of ideas, communicating it around the trading, I mean, just about everything. And especially in today's scenario, where the content knowledge which I'm talking about, maybe the textbook knowledge, is not so relevant or important, because all of it is available. All of it and much more is available at the click of a mouse. to everyone. So what is it that one has to work on is how we are able to sell our ideas. How are we able to express what we have, to the audience, larger audience, one on one. And language is not only about having a very very good vocabulary, but be able to communicate with someone who may have very little knowledge of the language that you know, or being able to communicate with the same efficiency with a little child as to an adult, as to a person from a very very different background, globally, and that's why they talk of global citizens. So language is the basis of all relationships, all relationships of all kinds, I think. And especially for a teacher, how she's able to communicate what her idea is, and across all subjects. So it's not only that you require the language in that particular language, maybe English or Hindi or whatever. Mathematics,
Right.
how is the teacher able to communicate? How is she able to explain? How is she able to use a variety of expressions to be able to be understood by in an inclusive setup, by the way the children understand. So I think language is the key.
Most important thing. So, my ma'am, we can say what you want to say is that if there is no language learning, there'll be no communication. So we
There would
need
be no communication,
the
no progress of mankind.
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll come up to Dr. Som. Sir, we see that school, they run towards the subjects that this subject should go good, that subject should go good, but we do not lay stress on language learning. So do you believe that language learning should be given importance in curriculum?
Sir, I would again like to begin with a beautiful couplet. कहते हैं खुली जुबान तो ज़र्फ उनका हो गया जाहिर, खुली जुबान तो ज़र्फ उनका हो गया जाहिर, हजार भेद छुपा रखे थे खामोशी में. See, we may look intellectual, we may look dumb until the moment we start speaking. जैसे ही the moment we start speaking, people come to know what we are exactly and actually. So therefore, language is the key. As Madam Nidhi just mentioned, language is the key to building relationship. I also believe firmly that language is the essence of all knowledge and all learning. See, however talented you may be, however thoughtful you may be, you still need some medium to expand your ideas, expand your thought process. And that can happen only through the acquisition of good linguistic skills. So language is key. And at the school level, I would like to tell that as a principal, even as a teacher also, as a principal, my thrust area, my focus area has always been language. And I've been training my teachers of all the languages, be it Hindi or be it English or be Punjabi, to teach language in the most practical manner possible. See, we cannot teach language through books and through the formal mode of learning. Language has to be taught in the most practical way. Language has to be treated like a practical subject where the communicative skills are to be given more focus. See, it not only helps them to expand their ideas, it for better engagement. For better engagement in their academics also, we need a good command. Good command, or we can say greater command over the language, will automatically lead to the greater command over knowledge. And another factor is, like, you have acquired some knowledge, you have acquired some skill. Still, you need a language to display that knowledge and to display that skill. And see, building a classroom culture, how will you transact between among the students and between the teacher and the student? So language bridges that gap, and language builds a classroom life. Language builds a classroom culture for better communication. And as a person, you have to handle people across various situations. Handling the people needs a greater command over language. So as a principal, as a teacher, I would always suggest my students or my teachers to lay a greater emphasis on the acquisition of good command over language, good linguistic skills. And in the school curriculum, languages should be given top priority because they form the essence of all learning.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Agarwal, sir, over to you, sir. Sir, your views on the same topic, that language learning should be given importance in curriculum.
Sir, I would say that if human society today exists, it's just because of language, the communication which we could do. Otherwise, our faith would have been the same as it is happening with other animals. I hope it makes sense. And what I believe, like students, what we are giving them, what they are inheriting from us. I take the example of different schools. You go to a government school, go to a private school of average stature or a little higher, or students coming from different families, their language, the way they express themselves is entirely a different approach which they maintain. As sir was just saying, the moment we open our mouth, you will come to know that where and which area, which place, which family, which country do you belong to. However, the post that you hold. So, as far as the question of students concerned, language is very important. Today, like initially when I said, if human society, it does exist, it exists only because of language, and we could communicate, we could impart, we could our previous generations could give us what they knew through books, through verbal media, or whichever the manner. There are now even the memory chips are there, and thousands of different other ways of doing the things are there. So discussing the importance, fine, because there is must be some topic. But if we say that in language, how it is important, should we teach language or not? There is no use of it. In fact, this is something which must take place. Like when we talk about some transdisciplinary things, let me give an example. I always think that mathematics, social studies, science, Hindi, English, or any other language, these are for the sake of understanding easier, making understanding easier. They have been divided into different subjects. Otherwise, what I am thinking, like this year, my pedagogy plan and the theme of pedagogy plan is a page on stage. And the page which the students are studying and the teacher is teaching, discussing in the class, it of course has some language, but does it get articulation? And if it doesn't get the way we want it, then where we are actually lacking. So that drama, the page on stage will give them some dialogue, and then they will be able to express themselves. So language is an expression. We are not here to impress somebody, but to express ourselves that this is what we feel. Otherwise, thousands of things are there on Google or anywhere you go. You find out what is the importance of language, and there are thousands of things will come, and we can really come and speak. So do we really feel from the bottom, from the core of our heart, what importance it is? Then every nook and corner of the school, there is language only, nothing else. So I let me come to that point. What I think, that all the subjects are just one piece. For the ease of understanding, they are different. So let there be one story, and of course it will have language. And then that story contains something mathematics, something related to science, and that is also being discussed. And then in this story, let the election also happen, and sometime, if at all we have to teach Babar, then that can also come some way or the other. And it is all about the language game which is happening. You go to law courts or anywhere, there are the working of a company. Sometimes when parents are coming to meet us, or we are organizing some event, it is the language which comes first of all. Otherwise, I don't even imagine school, let alone schools. You're talking about schools, let alone I don't imagine the world at large without language. So language is not going anywhere. We
Right,
do
sir.
exist only because of language,
Right, sir. Right. Thank you so
whatsoever
much.
it is.
Thank you so much, sir, because it's a very good topic. We can talk about this for 1 or 2 days even. but we have a shortage of time also along with that. Thank you so much. We'll come up to Farida ma'am. Ma'am, we want to know your views on the saying that students of present era, especially after pandemic, they have become smarter and they know the extensive use of technology.
When you said post-pandemic, it is so true because these 2 years of the pandemic has actually changed the complete scenario. You know, students who were kept away from gadgets have actually been stuck. You know, they have been given the gadgets in their hand to promote learning. And we now, as educators, as parents, we cannot think of any other medium to enhance learning other than gadgets. Like, just to give you a small example, we have teachers in our school, we are teaching English in our school, but we have taken the Wordsworth app from Jaswinder Singh sir to accelerate the learning process for their subjects, and it starts from grade 1 onwards. So those small children will be learning English through the app. So it is not that they're not being taught in school, but it is just to fine tune whatever they are learning and to just make it better. So, and definitely now, because 2 years they have been with the gadgets, they have explored to such an extent that we have now understood that learning is not just based it's not just limited to a classroom or to a building. They have moved across geographical boundaries. You know, they have interacted, collaborated, everything. So yes, definitely children are smarter and they have used technology to the best of their ability. So yeah.
Amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. You are absolutely right, because they have become more smarter now. That was the only positive point of pandemic, that whatever technology has to come after 10 years, that came before only. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Matushi ma'am. Matushi ma'am, your views on the same topic, ma'am.
So what I believe is that millennials, we call them, like they're definitely different from our generation. Like if we talk about like a generation, previous generation, they they are seeing it is the era of advent of technology, advancement of technology. If we say, if we talk about like post pandemic also, sir, our children are much more comfortable with the mobile and the various features into it. If we talk about the our generation also, they're also the, leaving apart few people. Like if I talk about Jaswinder Sahil, he's definitely like towards computer, but otherwise if we talk about all other teachers, principals or whatsoever, we were not so technologically advanced. But maybe due to pandemic or with the changing time, we all are learning. So this coming generation, or we should say the our children, they are much more technology bent. And yes, the learning is also accelerating, and it should be a combination, an amalgamation of both technology as well as the learning which we have acquired or which we are giving in schools. Because there are some negative points with technology also. And when we talk about the teaching which was totally book teaching or through different modes, that also had some disadvantages. So it would be very good if it is both is like tailor made and it is provided in a platter to the children. That's
Amazing.
what I
You're absolutely right, ma'am. It should be a blended learning now,
blended
and
learning.
where teacher will remain the main source, and tools like Wordsworth Lab will be over there to help the teachers as well as the students. Coming up to Jaswinder sir as an expert, you please first of all tell us your views about what the principal said, and please let us know more about your Wordsworth Lab. How does it help? Like Farida, ma'am, we were not knowing, just now we came to know that she's using that app. So what's the what's the use? How does it helps the teachers? And it's not about that any of the school, all the schools can use that. It may be in the remote areas or in the big cities also, one tier, two tier, three cities also they can use it. But how it is helpful, why it is essential at present era that these type of tools should be used. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chandok sir. And see, I will start with what ma'am just said. You know, today's students are technology residents. We are technology migrants. They understand that, and they understand only that. Okay, the problem is they understand only that. The good part is they understand that. So as teachers, we can't become residents, but we'll have to be enablers. So we need to know a certain extent of technology should be known to us, the usage and things. That does not mean that we as teachers, as edu leaders, need to know coding, but we should be able to use tools. As it is, we are using a lot of tools, not even knowing that we are using those tools. You book a cab, you're using a tool. You buy some groceries, you're using a tool. You book a ticket, you're using a tool. So what has happened now, technology, the advanced technology doesn't expect you to do coding, but expects you to only know how to use these tools. And that is good enough when we talk about teachers. But the only thing is we should keep our minds open and us ready to accept the changes, because now the changes are going to be very, very fast, because technology by the blink of an eye changes. Because what is technology? Technology can make you do anything that you think. You remember when we were all kids, we used to see this serial where Mr. Spock used to come down, Star Wars, and then we'll open up a phone and see that. And we used to wonder, itna phone kahan se aa gaya? And today we've got even smaller than that, and it doesn't bother us, right? So please understand that tomorrow the education is not going to be today's education. Tomorrow's schools are not going to be schools where teachers are going to teach. Tomorrow's schools are going to be places where students are going to come and learn life skills. And language is one such life skill. Okay, language is not a subject. Okay, we would talk about any language. Like it was said, we are here because of language, not in this session, but as humans. We are humans and not Homo sapiens, because Homo sapiens learned how to, or they developed language to become humans. The technology is there because something comes to my mind. I explain it to somebody using my this thing. We collaborate using language and we develop something. So everything and anything starts and ends with language. It may be any language. Okay, so that's an important part. So we all need to understand that language. We all know that the language is important. But the point here is, let us start with looking at how many languages. Okay, being in a country like India, the more languages you know, the better connected you are. And in today's world, you don't need to know everything. You need to know where is everything. You don't need to know everything, but you should be able to talk about everything. So this language is used pretty well. Though English is a prominent language in our country, but you know that only 10% of Indians speak proper English. So one thing that we need to understand is limiting ourselves to one language, English, is not the end. That is why NEP 2020 says that let there be a 3-language formula. We're talking about the local language. Why? Because understanding in the local language during the early years is very, very important. Nikki ma'am, the young kids, why should they struggle when they can't even understand English? And why should they struggle to understand? Or even if they want to go to the washroom, ma'am, I want to, and by the time it is done, that's what you're given an example, Chandok sir, once. So what happens here is that multiple languages are important, and multilingual is a very, very important thing that we need to do. Okay, so let them understand, but not that they start acquiring English as a language at a later age. A child till the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages. We're stuck with only 3. We can go even beyond that. So let that be there. Let the foreign language, but I wouldn't call English as foreign language for Indians, because foreign language is something that you don't listen to. If I am not communicating in English, if I don't know English, but if there are people communicate in English in and around me, that means it's a second language. It is not like Japan or Korea or Thailand that they don't even listen to English. So second language or foreign language, English is important, and very important is the cultural language. I would want to talk about the cultural language. They're talking about Sanskrit. Why? Because that is the mother of most of the languages, not all languages. That's a logical language. So putting it apart, language acquisition is very important. And if a person speaks 3 or more languages, the brain neurons work better. It is a proved thing. So what happens here is, in the early years, we can teach them multiple languages. Now, how do you acquire a language? Not by just reading. not by somebody teaching. It's when you are you have a platform where you can use that language, where you can express that language, where you can communicate, you can listen and speak and comprehend. That is all required. So school is the best place to give that. So what I would say is, if you use the blend of instructor-led teaching, that is the teacher, and computer-based teaching, which is computer technology, we blend them together, it will serve the purpose of everything, because language is not from the brain, it is from the heart. Let's understand, you don't acquire a language because you want to do it. You acquire a language because you love it. So that is all from heart. So that is where the teacher comes in, and the brain part is brought by technology. So what does technology do? Technology does, it allows one teacher to be 40 teachers in a class of 40. In a normal case, what would happen if I am a teacher and I've got 40 students? I'll be giving 1 minute to each child because I have a 40-minute session. That is not enough to acquire language. But if I get replicated into 40 teachers, and if each one of us is spending 30 minutes with each and every child, that is where language will be acquired. So technology, it is only what doing, it is replicating you as a teacher while delivering, or even while listening and while correcting and working on it. So that's the best part of technology. You don't have to have 40 teachers, because in our country 1:25 is not possible. How can we make 1:1 teacher student ratio possible? So technology will do that. The second thing is, today's learner, today's child, today's student is an advanced brain person, and they want to do it things the way they want to, the time that they want to, and the way they would wish to do it. So technology allows them to learn at any given time, in any place, anyhow. And you see, that is what technology does. So what is technology? It is nothing but an enabler, but a very, very strong enabler. So all you do is, what a teacher does, we put it to technology, bundle it up and give it, and we replicate it. We allow it to be used anywhere. We allow it to be used anyhow. We allow it to be used on any device. So what we've done is, we've made this as an online learning platform, where in the school the teacher can use it, at home the child can use it, and whatever the child do, even if the teacher is not there, even if the child is working 10 p.m. In the evening, the teacher gets to know what he's doing. So technology will actually do this. So language learning and technology is a perfect thing. What if tomorrow I wish to learn, say, a language, Japanese, and I don't have a Japanese teacher, but there's technology which can help me get a teacher that way. So that's how, what I would say is, what technology will do. And all of us have all talked about, yes, language is important. Everybody knows that. You're right, it is important. But the whole question is the correct language. There's a difference between language and language. This and language is very important. And that is what few experts get together, develop content, develop teaching pedagogy, and then put it forward, because language acquisition should be as simple as possible. We do not need to have Shashi Tharoors in a class. A teacher, while teaching, need not show that she or he knows English. What we need is, we need people to let students know, I know as much as you, let's learn together. So collaborative learning is what technology allows. And the best part is, you don't have to be the best of the person to use technology. Any normal teacher can work beyond normal teacher, can deliver better. And that is what I would say technology would help. So that's the thing, technology in education, technology in language learning is a very important thing, and it is doing its part pretty well.
That's amazing, sir. And over this also, we see that students don't ask questions inside the classes. They are feared that other students will make fun of them. And this is available 24/7. Technology is available. When his mind is set, he wants to study at 8 o'clock or 2 o'clock at night, he can go up with these type of tools. And while coming back next day to the school, he'll be up to the same level. So out of the 40 class, only 3-4 toppers won't be there. Every student will be a topper. And as language learning is the most important thing, base of all the subjects. Basically, when I started up sessions with sir, it came into my mind that two of the things we do not work on. The first thing is language learning, and the second thing is handwriting also. So sometime we'll come up to handwriting also, but language learning is the most important base of all the subjects, including mathematics also. Like mathematics students are able to do, but when they are not able to understand the word problem, they know how to do it, but what it is asking when you are not able to understand. And at the very same time, children are not able to communicate also. So that is a very big problem with language learning. And we have to, lay stress on this, that this should develop in the school. When this will be developed inside the school in any way with the tools like which we have now, which we are not having at our time, should be used for sure. and that should be the development of the kids. And we will see that we get the best of the result from the kids from the starting till the end of their studies, etc. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to the next round, a very rapid fire round. We'll give 1 minute to each and every contestant. We'll come up to Pooja ma'am first. Ma'am, your views on the saying that technology plays a very important role in language learning in 1 minute, ma'am.
Yeah, technology gives basically wings to learning a language, sir. Basically, so many apps have been developed. We learn so many languages through that correct pronunciation. Sitting in India, we can learn other languages because they're just a click away. There are different languages to be learned, sir. And they make the classroom teaching so enjoyable, so accessible. All these things children sitting at home are learning is just with the help of technology. And what language we as teachers, as sir said, we cannot develop, we enhance that with the help of technology. Correct usage. And of course, collaboratively, all these things are actually helping. And technology has brought language barriers away. They have just removed those barriers, and all across is one language is through technology. We can just communicate anywhere. Technology has brought the world so close. We are all one languages, that's technology. That's the language we are learning of today. Whether we have below Hindi, Spanish, German, anything. But technology has brought it very, very close. And people like them, people like sir, they have developed so much. I mean, thanks and hats off to you, sir. Pandemic made learning beautiful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You're absolutely right. We have seen the teachers, they have also reformed themselves. The children were throwing away their teachers. They were saying, we'll not take the classes. We're not able to understand. We'll go up to the YouTube classes with the other teachers. Now, even the teachers who were so backward, they have started making their YouTube classes even now that, if you are not according to the market or you're not according to the students, you will not be able to survive over there. And that is the rule of every industry we talk about. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Nidhi ma'am. Nidhi ma'am, your views also about the technology.
I think everybody has brought up the relevance of technology today. As Sir said, technology, these children, they are residents, they're not migrants, is a beautiful way to actually, give the feeling, the emotion behind it. Again, it was the language that helped us learn, So when we talk about technology, let's understand one thing. These children, it's not only about the language. It's, beyond that. For today's children, technology is their emotional support. So whether they are on a social medium platform, where they are liked and disliked and all these things that happen. So similarly, it is these tools and other things that one is talking about in terms of learning the language, because they're when they're using these tools and they're learning, if they are not understanding, they can go again and again and again, which may not happen in the classroom, as it was just mentioned, for the fear of being mocked at or snubbed by the teacher, because that's a natural thing. Also, when we're talking of language as a skill, any skill, research has proven, is acquired and perfected by repeating and by practicing. So it has to be done again and again and again for a certain number of, the book Outliers brings this out so beautifully, where it has shown that whatever skill that one acquires, it's more by practice. So when they are able to use the technology at their own pace, at their own convenience, and without the fear of being mocked or made fun of, it not only builds the language, but it builds the self-confidence of the child as well. And that's one part of it. The other part of it is learning the correct language, and if you have to compare the schools of today and the schools that probably I went to, probably because of the area where one was living, we had these, I went to a convent, so we had these nuns whose English was impeccable. uh, and learning the language in its correct form is again a challenge. And today, as a school principal and as educator, we all know here that getting the right kind of language teachers, whether it is the Hindi language or the English language, with pride I say that, having been to a convent where the nuns did not know, they don't even understand Hindi, I'm very, very proud of my Hindi, because the emphasis on language learning was given its due, back then. But today there is a challenge, even if at home the child is not able to, if you talk about this part of the country, I'm not talking about the southern part of the country where they acquire English as a language. You'll have parents coming in, or the mothers coming in and taking a pride in the fact कि मैं तो हिंदी नहीं पढ़ा सकती, and if you ask her to speak in English, her English is like, I mean, less said the better. So if you're not able to acquire the correct language, should not die out. And I always believe the respect for language is respect for culture, is a respect for mankind, is respect for a human being, to be able to speak the correct language, whatever it may be. At the same time, one language should not be considered superior over the other just because the so-called better schools are have that particular language as a medium. This again, it brings about a whole lot of what should I say, divide in the society. So language has a broader role to play. To bring language should be bringing people together rather than dividing them. They should not be. So I think technology can play a very important role in making the children understand, speak the language, increase the vocabulary, have the right diction, have the right pronunciation, also read about the literature. So when we talk of the textbooks, they have a very limited kind of literature in it. But since these children are so used to screen reading, for them to pick up a book these days may not come very, very naturally. And people like us who have a stuck up mind that reading a book is superior to reading what is on the screen, we need to again change that. So if it's what about reading, and the more you read languages, how do you acquire a language? First by listening, and then by speaking, and then comes the writing. So the more they will read, not only will they learn the language, they'll learn about the world, and today, since the world has shrunk, we need to have the information on every subject. And how do we do that? So all of it is available on technology. So
Yes,
technology,
ma'am.
I think, is a major role to play. So
You're absolutely right, ma'am, Anidhi, ma'am, because two things you said very good. The first thing is we are talking about language learning. It's not about only English. Or English is mine and English is not yours. You're a Hindi medium student or whatever you talk about. Because language means language. It may be any language. So
absolutely.
that should not be the concern or the rule of anybody. Like we are not slaves right now. That is only a part of someone else only.
Right.
And second thing, also you said very good that the acquisition should be very good. The acquisition should be very good, and we should look for that acquisition should go on very proper with the students when we are talking about language learning. Thank you so much, ma'am. We will come up to Som sir. Som sir, again, we need a very short answer. Every child is born. We see that the results of the students are different, percentage are different. So we say that every child is born with different ability. How can we recognize the potential of a child?
Sorry, how can we?
Recognize the potential of every child.
Yeah, see, perfectly said that every child, every individual is unique, and every child has some or the other potential. Now, the question is how to identify that and how to then what to do with that potential, because this is what a normal school and a good school do, and this is the difference between a good school and a normal school, and good schooling and normal schooling. Identifying the true potential. See, what I would say, the school has to have a holistic curriculum in which there is an inculcation of amalgamation of all the things that makes a complete personality. So through that, through the transaction of that curriculum, the school has to keep a close eye on each and every child through various modules and modalities in terms of identifying and looking for the early signs of their talent or their potential. So first thing is looking closely and catching them early. This is the key. Catching them early means right from, I would say, nursery. Yes, nursery, LKG, UKG, first, second grades. Because children, they reflect when they speak, when they act, when they do anything. See, children, they do a lot of things. They love everything and every activity, any activity. See, I love my kindergarten very much. There may be some days when I don't go to other classes, but definitely to kindergarten classes, I visit every day, and that makes me feel like I'm the king. So I observe them closely, and they do a lot of things. Everything tells you something about their potential. So you have to catch them early. And then a second thing is paying proper attention. Paying proper attention as to who sings better, who is good at art and craft, or who is good at scientific skills, or maybe who can be an athlete. And then keeping a proper and giving a proper attention. And then another thing is, as they say, talent is nothing without opportunity. So providing ample number of opportunities to each and every child is the duty of a good school principal, by making that proper curriculum and distributing the various tasks and various workloads to the different departments of the school. So providing opportunities to each and every child related to their specific field is what we can do to identify and hone their skills. And then see, sometimes what happens is, there is a spark in each and every child. When children are small, they see the aeroplane flying, they say, oh, I want to become a pilot. But how many of them, when they grow up, they want to become a pilot? That spark gradually tends to decline, because the creativity that they have is not encouraged. In childhood, when the children are small, we clap for everything. Okay, clap, 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 clap. As the children keep on growing, this appreciation decreases. And the moment the appreciation decreases, that ability of the child, the spark of the child also starts decreasing. So that should not happen. And creativity of each and every child should be encouraged at all levels. I tell my teachers to appreciate even the 8th graders. If they do even a small kind of thing in the classroom activity, you must appreciate them, because that will eventually lead them to formation of some good skill. So, and then hobbies are very vital and very important. I keep on telling my parents that you please tell your children to pursue some or the other hobby. If singing is the hobby, then they should get training. If dancing is the hobby, then they should get proper training. Even if in scientific skills they are interested, then teach them computer skills or teach them various other skills, so that that hobby one day can become a passion. And that passion, if turns out to be a profession, then it brings the desired result. Passion becoming a profession. And see, as a teacher or as a parent, I've found that we often become way too critical for the children, and that should not happen. Too much of criticism, see, it kills the spark. And we should be appreciative of the efforts. We should be supportive, and we should be looking towards grooming whatever the child inherits within his or her personality. So that is the way to go.
Amazing, so amazing. We should not criticize. That is the most important thing which a teacher should do while going to the class. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to Agarwal, sir. Agarwal, sir, your views on the same topic.
Sir, I would like to say that opportunities, how we can identify the potential, just like defining the law of gravity. Now you will say how, because talent, everything which goes up, it will come down. That's the law of gravity. Now, law of gravity is that things will come down on the earth and it will happen. So if there is something, some spark is there, it will easily be identified. Yes, I do endorse Dr. Som Prakash when say opportunity. Sir, even if, yeah, of course, opportunity must be there, but even if opportunity is not given and there is a spark and there is interest, it is bound to happen and the child will come out of it. I want to give an example of Jyotsna, one of my students. Very reluctantly, I gave her admission. 3 children were there. The idea was, okay, 3 children are coming from same family. Let us give admission. 2 are bright. Only Jyotsna was a little dull. Sir, the child could not even understand Hindi, let alone English. she was able to understand the local language of that area. I was working in border area of Gujarat and Rajasthan, Mount Abu. I have written an article also. I am on the verge of completing it very soon. It may publish. Once we, it was Children's Day, and the teachers, the girls, they were making them play the game of chair, in which they have to move around the chair. And the moment the song stops, anybody who could not sit will be out. That girl, she did not even know that game. It's so very easy to play. And she was out in the first round. I asked the teacher that this girl has been given admission, and I knew background because at the time of admission, the encounter happened with me only. So I said, does this girl know the rule, how to play this game? And when she was asked in that local language, we came to know she did not know. So I told, there was a teacher, madam, you just explain the girl the rule and let us play this game again. Sir, you won't believe, the girl, she did not really won that game, but she was runner-up. What I mean to say, why I quoted this example here, from these very, very small things, being meticulous, observant of things, we have to identify that what works actually. And ladies and gentlemen, dear educators, intellectuals sitting over here, I would like to say that that girl, and not only that, there are so many of them later on, she could speak tables, and that too in English. Otherwise, we had to explain her things in the local dialect, local language of that area, and so many other things. So similarly, why I'm quoting this example, similarly, it applies to all students. The only thing is, of course, opportunity requires, but if there is a talent, it will automatically be seen. Yeah. Practice. Now the concept of practice is, just to do it. Nothing else. The concept of practice is just do it. Do the practice and things will happen. So how to identify the potential, it will automatically get reflected. It happens. The only thing is, do we have that observant eye? And a principal has 2 eyes only. But if you have 100 teachers in your school, there are 200 different eyes. The vision and mission must be clear. This is what we want to achieve. This is my vision.
So, Agarwal sir, Agarwal sir, you want to say that we need to observe the students and find out their potentials, and whatever is fit for them, we should give them that treatment. That, because we see in classes that only the 3 toppers or the 4 toppers, they're given, privilege inside the class. The rest students, they sit it like that only. So the role of the teacher should be like this, who will see this episode, that they should look after all the 30 or 40 students that are in class, and they should see the potential. Like you gave an example. So they should give, that exposure to the weakest child, what they feel, and that child might be the brightest one. The only thing is that exposure has not been given to him or her. That is for sure. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We'll come up to Farida ma'am. Farida ma'am, if the teacher does not become smarter, then their students, the role of a teacher will vanish. Give some suggestions to improve the role of a teacher. As we were saying just now, that Jaswinder sir was saying that the teaching which was going on, the concept which was going on till now, will not be in the future. So what are your views on that, ma'am? In 1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, so sir, first of all, teachers of today have to understand the language that students are using. I have to go down to their level. I mean, each teacher would want the student, like, ma'am said that she's from a convent, and, the nuns had impeccable English, and every nun had this intention that students spoke impeccable English, which means they wanted to raise the bar to their level. Now it is the other way around. We need to understand the lingo, the language that they speak, so that we can relate to them. Language is about connecting people, so it's about connecting. So that is one, we need to understand their language. Secondly, language, teaching now is also about research, collaboration. Even the NEP 2020, it's all, it just keeps saying about research and skill development of students and all. How do you develop a skill if you are not skillful yourself? So the teachers have to, get skillful themselves, up their scale, level. They need to raise the bar for themselves each time. Do more research so that when they are questioned in class, they are able to answer to with students. Students now have got extensive technology, at their perusal. So at their perusal. So the thing is that when they are so smart, you definitely have to be smarter, because you as a teacher in front of them are, a notch higher than them. So yes,
Absolutely right.
yeah. So teachers have to show that they are smarter, and not just show, but they have to be that way. And to be that way, they need to keep evolving, keep getting better. So
Absolutely right,
yes.
ma'am. Absolutely right, ma'am. Because I had seen that the students are coming up to the principal and saying that we are not satisfied with the teacher because when she's teaching, she's very good, but when we are cross questioning, she's not able to answer. So they are so smart and they have so much research they have done from the technology that they want answers. Because if you want to be a teacher are very old teachers from teaching from last 20 years or 30 years, but they are failing just because of this only. They are not upgrading themselves. They have to upgrade. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to Mitushi ma'am. Mitushi ma'am, please, your views or suggestions to the teachers of this 21st
Teachers have
century.
a profound effect. We all know that teachers have a profound effect on students' learning and achievement. So when, as the ma'am said, ma'am is absolutely right that the time has changed now. We have to evolve, and we have to also understand the kind of learners we have, whatever kind of learner they are. And definitely a teacher, we can't say that she can be up in everything, but at least she can upgrade herself. Even in a class, a teacher does not know anything, as you said, sir, that the students are telling that teacher is not able to when we cross question. A teacher should never shut a student. She should give an answer, and if it is not possible, she can say that I'll get back to you. And definitely she should get back. That is what should be our approach as a teacher. So I understand that students are better in technology, but then if we up ourselves, if teachers upgrade themselves, definitely they are teachers and they have effect till eternity. So they have to understand this thing. And again, the same concept comes, why have you become a teacher? I have become a teacher just to teach, or just to koi job nahi hai, so I have become a teacher. So that also comes up, sir. A quality teacher will always have some or the other way to satisfy the needs of the students. Whether she is not very technologically up, then also she'll find her ways. So knowledge plus skills should be developed, and that is for everybody. We have to accept the change and we have to move on.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Jaswinder, sir. Jaswinder, sir, first of all, we will like to know your, as an expert, your views about what the principal said, all the principal said, as well as please let us know about the other subjects you are taking. You are taking up Sanskrit Language Lab, which is the first of its kind in India. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so if I have to talk about teachers getting upgraded, teachers getting to know everything, they can do it. They are one of the most versatile people who are there in the world. They have been able to adapt to new challenges. So I don't think they cannot do it. If they want to do it, they can achieve anything. If we can create people who create the world, teachers can do anything. It's the only thing, like rightly said by ma'am, that the will should be there, and I don't think that's a challenge. Second is, you just need to know how to be there, how to be an enabler. I will not go beyond that, because today's child knows more. Let's be enablers, let's be facilitators. See, the world is coming up to flip learning. What is flip learning? It's creative learning. I'm going to teach this tomorrow. Be ready and come. What will the students do? Google? Okay. But the best part is, when they Google, they will not get this much, they'll get this much. Then they have to read it and bring it down. And then you ask them to present. That's where the language comes, communication comes, presentation skills come, which also is a language, right? And then they can do it. And what the teacher needs to do is to see to it that it flows in the right manner. So believe me, our teachers are going to be the kind of teacher that we have in Harvard. Okay, that's what you need to do. They don't teach, they let learning happen. So that's what's going to happen. So let's look at future. Let's be abreast with the latest, what is possible, what is not possible. How is it possible is not a problem, because that is there on the click of a button. But what is possible, what all can be possible, and how do you excite the child to think beyond the textbook? How do you make them go a level further? Because they are capable. We just have to show them the path. They will run faster than us, and we should not be afraid if they're running faster than us. They are the next generation. If we ran faster than our previous generation, the other generation is going to outsmart us. Let them outsmart us. We are not going to go down. But one thing is there, if you keep your hands on their shoulder or on their heads, they will never ever forget to respect you. Because if a teacher is respected, anything is possible, learning will happen. So that's what I will, want to put it up. Let's not run in the race to be, oh, I should know everything. I need to be, I should need to wake up till 2 a.m. in the morning. I need to prepare for tomorrow. Still the child is going to know more. Because I have the responsibilities of my family, I have the responsibility of X, Y, Z, and I've got only this much time. The child has nothing. So that's what is going to be. Plus, I am not catering to one child, I'm catering to 40 of them. 40 brains will always outsmart us. So let's not run there. Let it happen. Be cool. It will work. That's one. Coming on to, our this thing of doing the Sanskrit lab, even before NEP 2020 was being drafted or was in the initial phases, we were called upon and said, start working on Sanskrit. Little did we know that Sanskrit is going to be a very, very important part. And when we started to work on Sanskrit, we realized it's a beautiful language. It's the most logical language, and it's a language of zeros and ones. Computers is the language of zeros and ones. Everything is logical. In Sanskrit, if you have a word, say, ma'am, Farida, if your name is Farid or in Farida, there has to be a reason why after Far there's a, and after that there's a reason for each and every letter being placed after the previous letter to form a word. That is the beauty of that language. And that is why they say that if you want to learn coding, go learn, understand Sanskrit. So you will think logical. That's one. Second is, what we are thinking of doing has already happened thousands of years back. It is a cycle again. We say Udan Khatola. It is there. It was there. How did they know how to read these stars? They couldn't even see that. But that means they had those gadgets. So everything, this evolution and everything goes down and everything comes back. There's a cycle. So what we need to do is, instead of waiting to discover, let's go read those scriptures. And India is full of those knowledge, that knowledge which is there. We need to be able to read them. If the Germans can read our Sanskrit scriptures, why not us? And if somebody starts getting into it, slowly they'll go deeper and deeper. And that's how things will happen. I'll give you a beautiful example. I normally give this to people. I used to get a lot of beating. At that time, we were allowed to be, taken to task by parents and teachers when I would not be able to do good in Sanskrit. And that time it was Sanskrit. It was compulsory in Gujarat. We were a little into that area. So what I used to happen is, Sanskrit grammar used to create a lot of anxiety, and we would not want to do it. And in that anxiety, we would forget what to do. But now when I realize, when my team works on it, it is so simple. I always give this example. If I have to say my name is Jaswinder, in Sanskrit it is Mama Nama Jaswindara. But if I write Jaswindara Mama Nama, that is correct. Nama Mama Jaswindara, even that is correct. So Sanskrit allows you that much flexibility. Which language allows you that? The only thing is, we need to make it accessible. It's a beautiful language. It's a sweet language. It's a melodious language. Like I tell you, if you take language as music, you will always fall in love with language, any language that you take up. So every time I meet somebody who is not from my area, or who speaks a language other than mine, I will at least try to speak in two languages, two words using their language, because that connects. It's okay if I make mistakes, but I am putting those efforts. So that way, Sanskrit, and then we've already come up with the Hindi. Grammar is over, and then we're going to do the other thing. Then we're working on Telugu, Bengali, Gujarati, and Tamil, and Uriya. So these languages are all coming onto that. So that's the whole plan, because NEP 2020 has opened the gates. If somebody who is not from Chennai and his father gets transferred to Chennai, and if he has to learn something in Tamil, God save him. So we would want to make those tools so that they can actually acquire. So that's the whole idea of getting into multiple languages, English, but we're also working on French very soon. By around June end or July, we should be ready with our French.
So like you are doing up with English, Hindi, French,
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit right now, and working on the other languages also.
Yeah, so because see, language is language. There's an algorithm you have to work on that. So the things are ready. We need to have experts, because language is not acquired through grammar. Never. हम लोग पंजाबी में बात कर लें, इंग्लिश में बात कर लें, कितनी ग्रामर आती है, कुछ नहीं आता, but you still speak proper language, right? So what we need to do is we need to acquire a language in the natural, the NLP, not the neuro-linguistic, but the natural learning process through getting vocabulary, connecting the words, and then going from one level to the other level. That's how you do it, and where you're not scared of making mistakes. The moment you get into grammar, you're always scared कि ये था कि वो था. So the best is to have it in the NLP form. So that's how we work on that.
Wonderful, sir. You're wonderful, doing wonderful job for the education fraternity.
Thank you.
That is why you are spread all over India. You work with the KVs also, army schools also, the government
all
schools
army schools,
also.
yes.
Yes, as well as 3,000 plus schools. It's a wonderful. It might be a very good thing, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Coming up to the next part, last part of the show, a 5 to 10 minutes last part. That before parting, it's compulsory for all the participants to sing 2 lines, and who will be the best one to start up with will be Dr. Som Prakash, sir, because I know he sings very well. So, sir, today we won't have that ladies first. We'll have gentlemen first. The 2 lines should start from you, because you are the, the man of the match or the man of the show. And that today we feel like that only, sir. Over to you, sir. Som, sir.
You want my concluding remarks for today?
No, sir, not conclude. No remarks, sir. No Gyan right now. Only 2 lines to be sung in any language. It can be Hindi or Punjabi or any language you want, as well as it can be traditional, or it can be religious, or it can be filmy songs. Anything, sir. Okay. Which is very close to your heart.
That is my most favorite thing to do.
I know, sir.
चलिए ठीक है, मैं गुनगुनाऊंगा 2 लाइनें. बांटना है अगर बांट लो हर खुशी, बांटना है अगर बांट लो हर खुशी, गम न जाहिर करो तुम किसी पर कभी, दिल की गहराई में गम छुपाते रहो, जिंदगी में सदा मुस्कुराते रहो, फासले कम करो, दिल मिलाते रहो, जिंदगी में सदा मुस्कुराते रहो. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Pooja ma'am, your turn, ma'am.
सर सांझे ख्वाब देखते हैं हम सब बच्चों के लिए, स्मॉल लिटिल. नैना जो सांझ ख्वाब देखते थे, नैना शहर में आज ढूंढती है यूं. नैना जो सांझ ख्वाब देखते थे, नैना शहर में आज ढूंढती है यूं. जुदा हुए मगर जिन्होंने ली ये कसम, मिलके चलेंगे संग हम, अब ढूंढते हैं ये हम भीगे नैना. Mind, मुझे words याद नहीं है सब, just tune I could.
Amazing, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm going to talk to the people of Indian Idol. I already told to many principals that you have to start up a season with the managements and principals only, the participants. And ma'am, for sure, Som sir and you are already going into the finale, ma'am, for sure. And Nidhi ma'am will also go. She's a very
I
beautiful
just
singer.
wanted to add a little. I am basically a folk singer from Jalandhar Doordarshan.
Oh
I
my
used to sing
God,
Punjabi
amazing,
folk.
amazing.
So now I just tried Hindi because a lot of people may not be knowing Punjabi. That's
Ma'am, principals here are singing in Bengali, in Tamil, and every language they are singing. And Bengali, too, so many principals have sung in Bengali also, ma'am. Regional, so you should sing in regional only, ma'am. Nidhi ma'am, over to you, ma'am. You are such a wonderful singer, ma'am. I can identify that.
Thank you for the compliment, and I really wish I was one. So, well, this topic is of language. Language is both about speaking and listening, and I think I'll be the listener. And please excuse me because I actually cannot sing for nuts. I love music, but not on this show, please. I cannot sing. I'll be totally
Any two lines,
Besura,
ma'am.
and
Any two lines. Any two lines.
well, I'm actually a very Besura person when it
Man,
comes to
we
singing.
all are very Besura person, ma'am. Don't take it on your heart, ma'am.
People have sung so beautifully before me. Please, I mean, just a
Not
request.
at all, ma'am. Not at all. You just see the others singing. After you just see, you'll be much better than them.
Didi
I
ma'am,
want
please
to say
sing.
something
I
in
will win
between.
the
Ki the
reward of most
more
bad singer.
Besura we are, the better we are.
Ma'am,
Madam
you are all rounder,
Shroyi
ma'am.
will
We are
sing. Let's clap
administrators.
everybody.
As Agarwal sir is also saying, we are administrators. We are all rounders. So when in Teachers Day, when you're pushing up the teachers to do something, or Children's Day, you're pushing up the teachers to do something, perform something for the kids, the same way we have to do it, like, ma'am. Please.
And the very definition of motivation is it fires the imagination. Forget the reality and sing.
Ma'am, please, ma'am. Nidhi, ma'am. Only two lines, ma'am. Any two lines.
All right, if you
Before
could just come
finishing
back
to
to
you,
me, let
ma'am.
me think of a song then.
If you don't sing, we'll feel discouraged otherwise, you know. We are also Besura people.
Oh God. जिंदगी कैसी है पहेली हाय, कभी तो हंसाए कभी ये रुलाए जिंदगी. I think that's the first song I've ever sung in my life. Thank you.
Ma'am, when you will see the recording, just see how beautifully you sung. You
Yes.
have that, you have that hesitation. I'm telling you, you will feel that. Otherwise, you're a very beautiful singer. I must tell
Thank you so much.
Agarwal sir,
सर फिल्मी गाना गा दूं क्या?
गा दीजिए सर. पिछली बार आपने इंग्लिश में गाया था सर.
हैं?
पिछली बार आपने इंग्लिश में गाया था, इस बार फिल्मी गा दीजिए सर.
अच्छा, आपको याद है इंग्लिश में गाया था?
सर आपको कैसे भूल सकते हैं सर.
Oh my God, that's great. So again, the same thing is Besura people, but I don't mind singing. I know Besura, but yeah, it's, you know, something which elates the heart. You must do it. So one of my favorite songs of my college days, in fact, even before that, वो मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगता है, and I used to sing it a lot. मेरे दिल में आज क्या है, तू कहे तो मैं बता दूं. मेरे दिल में आज क्या है, तू कहे तो मैं बता दूं. तेरी जुल्फ फिर संवारूं, तेरी मांग फिर सजा दूं. मुझे देवता बनाकर तेरी चाहतों ने पूजा. तू
सर ये बताइए, शादी कितने साल हो गए सर?
है जी,
शादी के कितने साल हो गए हैं?
शादी 20 साल हो गए सर.
सर आज भी गाना गाते हैं सेम आपको भाभी जी के लिए?
हाँ, क्यों नहीं भाई.
नहीं, हम सबको देख के आप गा रहे हैं कि उनको देख के गा रहे हैं अभी?
नहीं, ये तो सब मेरी बहनें, इनको देख के मैं क्या गाऊंगा.
नहीं, मतलब ये है कि आपको खुशी के बारे में आप गा रहे हैं कि जो आपके साथ 20 साल से जुड़ी है उस खुशी के बारे में गा रहे हैं?
मैंने आपको पहले कहा था कि मैं बेसुरा हूँ, ये मुझे पता है, लेकिन मेरे दिल को जो अच्छा लगता है मैं जरूर गाता हूँ.
सर ये कॉलेज टाइम का गाना गा रहे हैं सर, अभी का नहीं कर रहे.
वही पूछ रहा हूँ कि 20 साल तक चल रहा है, इट इज वैलिड टिल नाउ और नॉट? That is what was my question. Nothing offensive. I was asking it is valid till now or not.
सवरप्रीत साहब, मेरे को उन चीजों से कोई लेना देना नहीं. मैं तो भैया, मेरे को खुशी मिलनी चाहिए, मेरे को आनंद आना चाहिए, मैं वो करता हूँ. I do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Farida ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
एक दिन बिक जाएगा माटी के मोल, पीछे रह जाएंगे प्यारे तेरे बोल, दूजे के होठों पे देकर अपने गीत, कोई निशानी छोड़ फिर दुनिया से गोल, एक दिन बिक जाएगा माटी के मोल, पीछे रह जाएंगे प्यारे तेरे बोल. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Perfect song on the perfect situation, ma'am. Very good, ma'am. Very good. Wonderful. Mitushi ma'am, with your song we'll end up the session, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
कानपुर और लखनऊ दोनों की शान है आप.
डूब जाएगी.
आपने बिल्कुल एकदम सही तीर मारा है कि यस, कानपुर और वो मिक्स करके थोड़ा सा कुछ आ जाना चाहिए. यस.
पर मैं बंगाली सॉन्ग गा रही हूँ, वही जो हम लोग गाते हैं, वी शैल ओवरकम. আমরা করব জয়, আমরা করব জয় একদিন, হো হো মনে আছে বিশ্বাস, পুরো আছে বিশ্বাস, যে আমরা করব জয় একদিন. More than this, I can't afford to sing. कोई अब यहाँ नहीं बोलेगा, मेरे साथ अब ऐसा कोई नहीं है.
Amazing, ma'am. Mitushi ma'am. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming up to the show and sparing your time. Everybody is super busy right now with the schools, but we need to have, know about the people should know about the principles. Then we should talk about the topic, and at the end we should also have our me time. So because when we are parting, we should have a very wonderful memories when we are moving up from the session. And of course, I'll be, passing on the details to each and every one that you should get contacted with each other and should know each one better. Thank you so much, Jaswinder sir, Mitushi ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Agarwal sir, Farida ma'am, Nidhi ma'am, and Som sir. It was a wonderful, and I hope you also liked everything, and I hope to see you in another session very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you to each one.
Pleasure meeting everyone here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
To have interacted with
And
all
please
of
do
you.
share numbers. Last time also you did not share WhatsApp number of each other, so let us be in contact.
Sure,
Share
sir.
our best practices, and we can know better more each
Through
other.
Chandhok sir, this time we'll do this.
Sure,
Right.
sir.
Okay,
Sure,
sir.
sir. Okay, sir. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.
Dr. Somnath ji.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.